I was sitting here and I had a break today at work and I was thinking about that song. It just pops up in my spirit and I'm sure you know it. And it says, sooner or later, he's gonna turn it in your favor. He's making a way for me. Now it's gonna sound like this don't go together, but I promise you it does. The Lord told me this morning, make it a ministry and it will thrive. Well, everything that I have got to do in my life has essentially been a ministry, for the most part. And when I sit and I think about that, it's something that I try to teach people all the time. It's like your family is a ministry. Your entrepreneurship is a ministry. Going to college is a ministry. Seminary is a ministry. Going to the mailbox and waving at the neighbor across the yard is a ministry. Cutting the grass with the woman down the road is a ministry. Your job, your ideas, your smile to a stranger, helping someone carry a bag, or picking up something someone dropped in the supermarket. It's all a ministry. And a lot of times I think that people have a fear of failure when God lays something on their heart to go and do something that doesn't seem like it is a churchy ministry. And when I say churchy ministry, I know that when people see faces like mine, I understand that I am a figure of the church. I understand that. But at the same time, so are you. You are a kingdom figure. You are a person that goes out in the world, and your main mission in life is that everything is to the glory of God. And when you do it that way, everything you touch will succeed. Even if a door gets shut, the door that God opens next will be so much greater and fit for you. He's so good like that when we remember to remember Him. I want to read you 1 Corinthians 10, 23 through 33. And the title of this passage is Do All. What? What do we do? All. To the glory of God. And it says this. It says, all things are lawful, not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. Let no one seek his own, but the good of his neighbor. Eat whatever is sold in the meat market without raising any question of the ground of conscience. For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And if one of the unbelievers invites you to dinner and you are disposed to go, eat whatever is set before you without raising any question of the ground of conscience. But if someone says to you, this has been offered its sacrifice, then do not eat it. For the sake of the one who informed you, and for the sake of conscience, I do not mean your conscience, but his. For why would my liberty be determined by someone else's conscience? If I partake with thankfulness, why am I denounced because of that for which I give thanks? Here's what Paul tried to teach the Corinthians. So, let's paint a historical painting, okay? So back in the day, back in these times, the meat that was sacrificed at the temple was much cheaper than the meat that was just out there. And if it had been sacrificed to these false gods, it's just meat that's laying there. And you could get it for a discounted rate. It's kind of like when you go to your local Publix and you're like, this has been reduced. This is the meat I'm getting. I'm going to use it tonight. You don't pay any mind to the conscience of that. It's cheaper. I'm going to take it home. But not everyone thinks like that. And what Paul was saying is that it wasn't on his conscience, because he was giving thanks to the Lord above and not what they were, and it really wasn't on his conscience. But sometimes he had to make decisions to not do certain things because it might be on the conscience of someone else. But he ends like this. This is the part I really wanted to dig into. That was just a little history lesson. It says, so whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, it's like whatever decision you make, whichever way you go. So give you some options. Do all to the glory of God. Give no offense to Jews or to the Greeks, to the church of God, just as I try to please everyone in everything I do, not seeking my own advantage, but that of many, that many may be saved. And I wanted to read you that today because I know a lot of you are thinking about entrepreneurship. You're thinking about, maybe you're a social content creator. Maybe you're someone who You're working at your local grocery store. Maybe you have your family to take care of. Maybe it's friendships that have gone awry. I don't know what's going on in your neck of the woods, but God does. And what I want to tell you today is that it is all a ministry. And if you treat it like that, it will all thrive. Even on days that don't look like it is thriving, when you treat something as a ministry, it will come back to you tenfold as a ministry you treated it as. I used to have a lot of students that worked at fast food restaurants. And the ones that kept their kindness as people yelled at them, the ones that were able to spread sunshine through a little speaker, and they didn't treat it like they were working at Dairy Queen. They didn't treat it like they were at the Arby's. They treated it like they were able to love someone who'd had a bad day, regardless of how they were treated in return. And that never left me. You may think that just because you are not synonymous with church work, that you don't have a ministry, and that is so far from the truth. We need Jesus in business. We need Jesus at the fast food restaurant. We need Jesus when someone drops something behind us and they need help picking it up. We need Jesus. Your family is a ministry. Relationships are ministry. Friends are ministry. Supporting other believers is a ministry. Supporting people that are not is a ministry, because a lot of them don't see love. And showing the love of Jesus and not judgment in that space could change the face of the world for them. So what I wanted to tell you today, and what the Lord laid on my heart today, is if you make it all a ministry. So I know a lot of you worry about starting a business and how that might glorify God, and is that really a ministry? It is if you treat it like one. It will be. And God will reward you in the way that He rewards you in ministry if you treat it as such. If your prayers become, God, help me to do this to your glory. Help me to honor you in all that I do. And when you pray that prayer, it is so unselfish. God always responds to the unselfish prayer. The Lord, help me to bring you glory prayer perks God's ears up so quick. It's all ministry, hun. You just got to treat it like that. And when you do, watch your world turn upside down. Treat the way you speak to your children like a ministry. Watch your family heal. Treat the way that you speak to your spouse like a ministry. Watch your marriage turn around. Treat your business like it's God's business, and you will see God make it His business by bringing the kingdom into it because you did. Because if there's one thing about the Lord, it's that He's going to be the Lord. He's going to be faithful to His word. And if you honor Him, He is going to honor you. That's just the nature of God. If you honor Him, He will honor you. I promise. I've seen it. I've lived my life in the goodness of God. I ain't got no complaints. He has been nothing but good and kind to me. And at the end of the day, I know it's because He loves me and it's grace. But making everything a ministry sure didn't hurt. So go out and do what the Lord has placed on your heart, and do it without fear of judgment. Because they may not know it, it's a ministry, but as long as you know it, God will treat it like one, and it will operate like one, and it will yield the return of work for the Lord, just like you're planting in the garden of the church, just like you're out doing the things that you would call ministry. It's all ministry. And when you treat it like that, honey, it's gonna grow.